Everyone. I don't know if you can see me on screen. Johnny's to my right, so yeah. So basically, this is an hour's webinar. We're going to go through some key influencing tips for you. I've realized that in my career, influence was the main thing. You can get confidence, but influence, how to actually influence at all levels, is absolutely critical. So I'm going to close my camera. You can hopefully see the screen. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can actually see and hear me? Yep. Okay. So oh, if I can just get the slides to work. Might be a little bit of a technical hitch here. Oh, here we go. So basically, the whole premise around influence is actually to grow your career. I want to pass on my 20 years plus experience so you can look really effortless by learning from my mistake. You can be you can find that what I talk about is based on practical experience. It's not based out of a book. It's errors that I've made or things that I've been successful at. And I've learned from other professionals, both in sales, marketing, product development. And I'm continually evolving as a health and safety professional. I just want to pass on that enthusiasm to you and say that you can do it. And actually, you can do it in that effortless and smart way. And really, your dream job should be that sort of six-figure salary that you're after. It might be that £120,000 or that $145,000 role. You know, you can do it. It's an absolute mindset situation that you need to kind of work towards and achieve. And if you're on that kind of salary, it's about even progressing further or just doing it in an effortless way if it is actually draining you. But I can assure you there's certain ways to influence, and I'm happy to share that with you, the insights and the shortcuts. So remember, my disclaimer here is power can corrupt and knowledge is power. Just the fact that you've turned up to this webinar means you're going to learn something new, but don't use it for evil. Some of these techniques, these are based on true tried and tested marketing techniques, particularly towards the end of the webinar, that actually do work, statistically work, and they're in most campaigns that you'll see. Most marketing campaigns have some level of way that they influence you to buy. So again, when you start to know these laws and these shortcuts, just be careful how you use them. Use them for good. That's all I say. So, okay, it's just a little bit of a results disclaimer. I went through this last time on the last webinar. If you haven't seen that, please go to our website. But effectively, you're not going to land that huge job straight after watching this. You know, you're not going to land that £200,000 job or $230,000 job. What you're going to do is, first of all, you can sit back and think, can I get respect in my role? Can I hit a minimum of £50,000? You know, where am I with that? You know, you need enough money to survive in this world, particularly in this economic situation that we've got ourselves in. You know, globally, everyone is affected right now. So you need to make sure that really, in terms of your salary that you're heading towards, in the UK, that is around about £50,000 annually. But really, you still want that head of role. You want that director level role, or you want to be going. You've got to shoot for the stars. That's what I say. Shoot for the stars. Don't go to, you know, don't just go to the moon. Go to the stars. And that's what this webinar is all about. It's those influencing skills that get you past the moon. And that's what I want to pass on. But I did it the long way. You still, I believe, have to do some level of technical health and safety role before you can move up into a leadership role. And it's very important you do that. Don't skip that. You know, even if you did it for so many years, you know, don't do it for a lifetime, almost like I did. You know, you've got to kind of really push towards, you know, moving to strategic role. And that's what I did. So I moved around, got that technical expertise, and then went to that more strategic end. And that's what it's all about. How did I do that? You know, it's very hard to sit back and go, you know, they just did it the easy way, but surely they struggled. And no one actually lets you into that. So I'm going to let you into my struggles of how that happened. And right now, I'll still get job offers around that six-figure salary. So even when you get to that level, and I now run a business around health and safety, it's a consultancy, so I know more about sales and marketing than I've ever done. And I'm in an unfortunate position to be able to pass that information on to you now. So it's not just that I'm an in-house health and safety specialist or a strategic specialist or a leader in that space. I'm actually having to market and sell safety services, which I think it's a slight, it gives me a slightly different experience, which, I've not always got that right either. Just to sort of let you know that I have, some people that I've coached. One of them is Hannah. Hannah has taken some of these guiding principles, which I'm going to talk about, and she's made it her own. She's done all the hard work. She's working at Caterpillar, which is a global brand now, and she's come right from ground zero and worked all the way up, using more business related ideas rather than just gone, hey, I'm a technical health and safety person. She's really looking broader than that, and please contact Hannah. She's on our group as well, our mastermind group. Okay, so who's this for then? Who am I going to, deliver this information to, and who are you? Who best fits? So health and safety officers, advisors, managers, or heads of, or you might be a director that just wants that edge. Even if it's a 10% edge on influencing skills, you know what, that could be the difference between the next level up or helping you resolve a huge risk in the business, something that's you've never put across the line, something that the management have kicked into the long grass, as they say. I've had that in my career when you almost got something over the line and then it's whipped away from you at the last minute because of a budget or it just wasn't the right time. So maybe this might help you do that, just get it over the line. And it's also for anyone else who wants to transform themselves. This is a new opportunity. This isn't the old things that you've done before. It's new. It's an opportunity to kind of change your view on influence. And I still believe there's only one way to exponentially grow your career, and that's through coaching and masterminds. Back in the day when the laws weren't written down and people passed knowledge to each other, it was done through word of mouth. It was spending time with someone one-on-one and passing knowledge between generations, between communities, between national borders, between tribes. So consider ourselves now a tribe, and we're passing that information on. And that's the best way, I still believe. And we have a LinkedIn group, which will give you the link at the end of this webinar so that you can join. So why mastermind then? So, if you were to kind of consider right now in this world, masterminds are when you have either one or have two people at least in a room, and when two people talk, the mastermind is actually the third mind. So think about it. If you're in a room and you're discussing something, it's not your mind and the other person's mind against each other. You actually create a mind together. You create an idea, a philosophy. You use your wisdom to actually create something together. And that is the mastermind. So the more people in the room, the more the mastermind grows. That mastermind, you're all putting information into this idea. And that's what a mastermind is. You're all part of the mastermind. And that's why truly it has helped me massively. And you always have someone or a group of people that you can ask questions to. It's not that you have to know all the answers. You just have to know where to get the information from. And masterminds are, honestly, what I've seen from my career is the way forward. So why am I sort of sat here in the UK giving you some information, putting influencing skills towards you, saying, this is the thing. I've worked in some big brands, some international brands, and I've been a head of at O2. I was there for 5 years, and I'm also consulting to other international brands as well. So there's a little bit about myself. So where did I start off? Who am I? Where have I come from? So this is a really old picture I'd say over 40 years ago. And there's me. I was the smallest, and I was the youngest in the family. My dad's there in that sheepskin coat, and this is at a place called Skegness in the UK. And I was not confident. I was shy. I was a shy boy. I didn't get too much praise for some reason. I think we were very much a Victorian family where, there was certain levels of praise, but it wasn't sort of forthcoming every day. I felt that probably as I was growing up, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I didn't have that. I wasn't that alpha male. I wasn't the captain of the football team or anything like that. There might be something in you right now that you think, I don't have that confidence. But in that time, I felt that I didn't have it. Even in my early career, that's me and my brother. My brother there, we work together now, but at that point, I'm smiling, but really deep down, I think those clothes actually were brought for me by my parents. I didn't really have that kind of ability to, even brand myself as someone in authority. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know why I should do it, or, but anyway, that was sort of the way I was. And when I finally went to work, and I got my technical health and safety skills, I kind of pretended to be confident, but I always walked away from challenges. I didn't feel that I had the technical ability, the ability to articulate myself into a constructive argument, and I would want to basically walk away most of the time. And internally myself, there was like this burning feeling to quit and kind of hide away. So, I would walk around, do an audit, I would complete the report, and then I would hope no one would see it, because I just didn't want that, what I would say is conflict, not just general feedback and trying to help the business, because I felt no one was listening. There was a hell of a lot of internal talk that really was affecting my ability to work and rise to the challenge. So really, was it health and safety, or was it me? Why was I feeling worthless? And what did I need to do to change that? Well, one day something did change, and it was 2007. The iPhone had just been imported into the UK. Steve Jobs had come, and he was selecting a mobile operator in the UK to launch the first iPhone with. And Matthew Keys, who's on the left-hand side, and there's Steve Jobs on the right, he negotiated that contract, that opportunity that O2 were going to be the number one operator, the only operator to launch the iPhone with Apple in the UK. And I was sat in that business in O2 in 2007, so I'd only just arrived, and I was excited to see Matthew Key speak about how he was going to take O2 forward as the number one operator with Apple. And I was with a friend of mine, I'll call him Mark, and Mark said, Matthew Key has changed so much since I knew him. I said, well, what do you mean? Matthew Key, who obviously wasn't CEO straight away at O2, he'd actually come up through the ranks. He had developed himself into a leader. He then went on to present, and I was pretty blown away, because I had given quite a lot of insight from my friend Mark, who had been in O2 for a long time, and he was saying to me, Matthew Key wasn't like this before. And I thought, well, how has Matthew Key turned himself into a leader, a communicator, an influencer? And he said it's because he's had coaching, he's had advice, he's practiced, he's had feedback. And I thought, well, actually, have I ever done that? Have I actually had constructive feedback? However, I put myself in a situation because of the fears and anxieties that I did have. So I thought, well, hang on a minute, I need to change. I need to become a sponge. And I found this book. It'd been published in 1984, and it was by Robert Cialdini. Now, Robert Cialdini has been an academic, but he's also worked with marketing experts, researched the best and most persuasive ways that we can influence people through selling absolutely anything. If you brought something, it will probably be based on some of the laws that are described in this book. I'm not going to tell you what they are right now. This is the secret sauce of part of this webinar, but I can tell you now, I think you'd be pretty blown away that these shortcuts exist to influence that aren't talked about by health and safety professionals. My problem still was, though, that although I was consuming this book and trying to be a different type of person, I was still operational. I was still getting up, doing the audits, updating the systems, doing the investigations, doing analysis, but I couldn't use these influencing skills. I was kind of like a back office person. I didn't feel that I could actually take it strategically and start make a difference. So it took me a long time to slowly change my approach, to put my head above the parapet, so people would actually start to think, do you know what, let's give Alex a chance, because he seems to have some new ability to start to influence people. And with this book and another resource, I started to change. And I started to change. It started generate momentum. I started to change my influencing approach. I increased my confidence, and my business results started to change as well. I started to get promotions. I started to feel that people were listening to me, and all through the power of influence as part of it. So after 20 years, I want to tell you what I've discovered the hard way, and you're probably struggling maybe with this situation and the opportunity to change your situation. We first have to look at really why we are struggling as safety practitioners. What is the issue with this safety career? And the issue is there's always seems to be one pipe to go down. And when I say about that is there's always just one road that people talk about: get your technical training, which I totally agree you have to have. And I talked about it earlier. You've got to have your technical training. Absolutely. Really, do you need to be pushed down an MA, an MSc route, or a PhD route? Is it all about getting awards so you can hold them against your chest and feel like that's going to give you more influence? Is it about a fellow status of an institution, that you could go and elevate your status? Is it about more coaching by health and safety professionals and not business professionals, not entrepreneurs and salespeople that have to use influencing skills daily, hourly, every second of the day? They have to have them on point. They live and breathe influence, particularly at the senior level. So why are we still putting lots of money into education when it's the experience that we need of influence with the guiding principles of basic influencing skills? That is our challenge. That's the hard way. The hard way is to actually rethink what we're doing. And that is the hardest thing I wanted to go and get another degree. It could have been in psychology, it could have been in engineering, but that's what I felt was the right thing to do. And I was told point blank by my director, don't do that. And I just couldn't get out of my head why that was important right at that moment. And of course, education is quite stressful. They don't just give it away. We're not here going, oh, brilliant. I'll just take out 3 years of my life. It affects my family. It affects my ability to probably move up the ladder, in terms of my career, because I'm too busy focused on educating myself that little bit more. So in just 5 minutes, I'm now going to upgrade your influencing skills. And this is the exciting bit. You're going to learn something that other health and safety professionals don't know. You're going to learn something that's going to help accelerate your career, and you're going to be able to influence internally or externally as you wish. But you're going to have to, obviously, all the time think about, is it making impact? So there's 3 secrets. The first one is, every time you meet someone, you should try and find out what excites them. Not what their job is, not what demands and challenges they've got around their role. What really excites a person? What is the number one thing that excites someone to come along to work, but leave their hobbies, passions, they have them with them? You need to find out. So that's the first secret. The second one is to give frequent praise for even the smallest thing to get results. So why is it important to give praise? I'm going to tell you, because it does have an impact on influence. And the final one is become a Jedi. Not like in Star Wars, there are 6 universal principles of influence, and you can mix and match them to gain maximum impacts like I've done. So let's go for it. Let's start on secret 1. But after we've gone through those, we'll give you an idea of what we're doing next on our webinars and on our masterminds, and then you can ask lots of questions. So let's go for it. So find their interests, okay? Learn what excites them. So first of all, you've got to think about this influencing skill. So you've got your technical health and safety skills. I want you to learn sales skills, marketing skills, product development skills. They should be, the wider your skill base, the more income you'll have, the more influence you'll have. The smaller the skill base, the narrower your income, you'll have no influence. So first of all, you're going to have to think about who are the most influential people that have written something about influence and get those skills right now. The number 1 book has been around since 1939, is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I literally brought this book and went line by line through it with a highlighter pen, and I thought, wow, I'm gonna go by these rules. And what I've done for you is I've split them down into 2 secrets, so you don't even have to read the book. You could dip into it if you wanted, but I'm going to share with you what I think are the 2 key rules to it. Okay, so first of all, I want you to think about who is influential in your business. This is step number 1. Okay, is it the CEO? Is it your line manager? Is it the human resources director? Or is it the 80-20 rule? So this 80-20 rule is 20% of the people in your business actually run the business. 80% are just there. They just do a good job, or some of them might actually churn and leave the business. But only 20% of the business, the population of the business, the employees actually run the business. So you need to find those people. Michael Masterson, who is an entrepreneur, he always says there's always a key person of influence in a business, and you need to find that person to influence them, because they might have a wider influence over safety, particularly the CEO and your line manager. So after you find them or found them, you need to start researching, because if you're going to try and influence someone and understand what excites them, what's their passion, because again, this person might hold the key to a health and safety budget for you. It might be your promotion, it might be something else, but effectively, I'm going to give you a story. So right now, that was a picture of Mark Evans. He was the CEO at O2, so the main mobile operator in the UK at the time. And I wanted to influence Mark. I wanted to get him on board. He was brand new into the role after Ronan Dunn left and went to Verizon in the US. And I was like, I need to make a good impression. So what I did was I researched him, and he'd been on Sky News. And he'd made a number of quotes in papers and, the journals. And I knew from that, and speaking with people in the business, that he was a really big rugby fan. He was a rugby player. He's about 6'4". Big guy, and he uses rugby principles to determine his strategic direction. And I was using those before I went into a meeting with him. I had a one-to-one session with him and the chief operating officer, and I was practicing his quotes. I was going to mirror them back to him. So I was just going to express his vision of his business strategy and use a little bit of the rugby analogies that he'd used, but not too much, though he'd know I would copied him. So again, finding all the information about him really helped. And believe it or not, after I first met him, he sat back and he said to me, you should give advice and guidance on how people should present. He said that was an amazing presentation. And I was absolutely blown away. I spent months researching him. To a point where I thought, I know what this guy is going to be like. So that's why I always say, if you're going to influence someone, is the passion, and his passion was rugby. The next is always get one-to-one time with someone you're going to influence. When you're speaking to someone senior or on the same level, if you're in a room with other people, they're never quite the same person, and they might not give you the time of day. They might struggle to give you that one-to-one, and you also might not have the skills to navigate and influence an entire room. You might do, but that might be something where you're maturing your influencing skills over time to actually be able to take on a room, as it were, and influence everyone. But there might be one person. I think you should start with one person initially and try and use these skills we're talking about. But, bump into them at lunch, at conferences, try and get them to have time with you. Ask them for career advice. Say you've got an opportunity you'd like to discuss, tag them in a LinkedIn post. People generally want to see an elevation of status. So if you want to talk about something that could elevate their status, or even just, could you be my mentor, or could you do this for me, or could you help me with this, elevate someone's status. So getting that one-to-one time with them. So again, that first secret is find out about their passion, use that, have the conversation, but try and get it one-to-one initially. The second secret is give frequent praise. Praise for even the smallest thing, and that will certainly get you results. Now, as I was saying before, when I was a child, I used to seek praise, not from my mother, from my father. I was always wanting praise, and I would do anything. If he asked me to dig a hole in the ground, help, because he was a builder, so it was like excavations, construction work, I was always there. I was more of a laborer. I think he didn't really show me any technical skills, but I always wanted praise because it wasn't there every day. And maybe it doesn't need to be, but it wasn't there in my view enough. So I wanted to really get that praise from my father. That's probably what drives me today. But everyone wants that. It's a key principle. Dale Carnegie in the book says that is what people, they really deserve, they want, and they feel starved. If you give no one any praise at all, you starve that person. It's like not giving them food and water and shelter. The Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you don't give them that, it's like starving someone. So make sure that you're doing that with the people you need to influence. You need to find those top 10 people in the business. Remember the 80-20 rule, that are really either can support the safety strategy. They can, write the names of these people down that you're going to influence, have them on the side of your desk, hidden away if you need to. But, you need to get a list of these people. They might be external to the business as well. There might be something you need to do to either get, to move jobs, but effectively you're going to focus on these people, and somehow they're going to learn that you feel that they're great at something. You're going to give them praise. It's absolutely key, though, that you go about it in the right way. And this is what I'm going to teach you now in step 3. Don't just go in there and say, oh, you're amazing. People kind of can see straight through that. So let's do it in the right way. Step 3, when you're giving someone praise, is don't do it and say it's because they're just intelligent or they have these superpower abilities. I think that way was the old way. Really, what people want to kind of get their praise for is the effort, the process. If you see an entrepreneur now, if you see Jeff Bezos, you're not going to go up to him and say it's just because of intelligence. He sat in his garage on his own, and he persuaded and influenced people to come on a journey with him. He used the process of influence to gain investment into that business. I think he only owns 15% of Amazon. So although that's a huge sum when you look at the value of that business, it means that, really it's the process of all his efforts combined. And that's absolutely critical. When you're speaking to senior leaders, they've started where you are or I have. They've had the same issues around confidence, generally, I would say. And, you want to be thinking about Carol Dweck. This is Carol Dweck's work about the growth mindset. It's about just giving, praise in the right way. I'll give you an example with my children. If they've drawn a really, really nice picture, I will say, how have you done that? I really like this element of it. And you know, rather than say that's the best thing I've ever seen, or you've got amazing abilities, that derails it actually, because then someone tomorrow might say that that's the worst, you know, that's the worst drawing you've ever seen. You want to be going in and saying, this part is really, really good. This is what I think for me is the best part of it, and the process and the effort you put into it. So I hope that's really helped. That's step 3. So that really for me is the end of secret 2. Remember, it's all about the constructive ability of you to give praise in the right way and finding those top 10 people. The third secret, and this is my favorite, I've got to be honest, and this is from the book that I was talking about earlier. So the influence with the 6 universal principles. Now, I used to have panic attacks. I'm quite happy to talk about it. I would literally have panic attacks. I actually suddenly become awake. I think it was through huge amounts of stress at one point, and I'd be shouting out, no, no, no. And I didn't know why. I think it's a combination of things, but effectively it was probably lack of influence. Certainly some confidence issues there, but you know, it's basically panic attacks or anxiety, as I'm kind of becoming more aware of, is your body telling you there's something wrong. You need to do something about it. You need to find out and work out what's wrong for you. Everyone's different. Why am I having panic attacks? What is it in my life I've got to work out? If it's not biological, you know, it's not some kind of biology thing. It's how do I work it out? And that's what I needed to do. When I stepped on Robert Cialdini's work, I literally had an aha moment. Wow, this guy's really pulled together these 6 laws. Why didn't I know this before? Why have I struggled? Why have I done it the hard way? So think of them like Jedi powers. You know, if you like Star Wars, you can see that kind of thing. If you don't, then think of it as another superpower, maybe in the Marvel, you know, series. It's about the 6 areas. And the first one is about reciprocity, then commitment, consistency, social proof, authority, liking, and scarcity. And you'll all be, maybe some of you have seen this before, but most people haven't. These are marketing principles universally used to sell, as I've said before, pretty much anything. And you should be able to start selling safety internally or externally using these principles. So let's go for it. Let's go through the 6, and then we'll get on to some examples as well, and how you can superpower these principles more than just using one at a time. So reciprocity is about giving a little something to get a little something in return. Now imagine it's someone's birthday, and or imagine it's imagine it's Christmas, and this is the perfect one for me because I've done this many times and it's a bit embarrassing. So you've gone to someone's house and someone passes you a Christmas present from someone you never thought would give you a present or even a card or some money, and you've got nothing to give them back. How does that feel? For me, it's that burning desire to give them something back. And that's reciprocity, because it's that thing of, oh, wow, like, how do I now feel in a way that I owe that person something? And I'll go into how I use that in safety. Then there's commitment and consistency. So you really want people to align with the beliefs that they have, that effectively say it out loud. I will do this. I will. Yes, I will. I will fund this, or I will take this because it aligns with their values. And in safety, you've got really a bit of an upper hand on a lot of things where, you know, the well-being of people, the safety of people, you know, most people wouldn't out loud wouldn't want to say, no, I don't believe safety is important. You need to get people to explicitly say it. And that is commitment and consistency, because when they do that, it's a powerful thing. This third one is social proof, and there's nothing like feeling validated based on what others are doing. I had a call last week actually. I had a call from someone who said that someone knows you, Alex, and the term they used was that you know your onions. So in the UK, this means that you know what you're talking about. And I thought, I've never met this person before. I've never met the person that had referred me either. So he mentioned someone else. This was a telecoms company, and I was going, wow, my social proof must be very, very high at the moment. We've worked really hard at it. I started social proofing on LinkedIn, trying to get people to give me testimonials and recommendations years ago. And it just builds up over time. It's cumulative effects. So again, social proof is super important. It could be social proof offline as well, but it's great. You can do it very, very quickly online. An authority, you will obey me. This is not about health and safety professionals going around and saying, I know everything and follow me, and this is legally required. It's more than that. It's your brand. It's how you talk. It's what you wear. It's everything about yourself as someone that's in a position of authority, which you are. So we need to make sure that you are looking the part, speaking well, and you're mirroring people in what they wear as well. So you're actually sort of they need to see you as someone that is trusted, basically. The last two is liking. So the more you like someone, the more you'll be persuaded by them. Again, it links back to the Dale Carnegie elements of, getting into someone's head of what they like themselves and adopting that hobby or passion or finding out more about it to the point where they're enjoying the fact that you like what they like and you're part of almost like the same tribe for maybe even a temporary meeting or, over a period of time. If they like a certain football club or they're into rowing or they're into music and, you are the same, even if you just say, I've been to one gig or I've listened to the music a few times or you just downloaded the album, just anything that, gets you on the same page. It's really, really powerful. And the final one is scarcity. That's when you believe something is in short supply, that you want it more. Amazon do this super well. Like you go on Amazon to buy something or any of these huge, online stores, and it says only one left. How many times have I brought something online when there's only one left? I just can't help myself because that's scarcity. And in terms of safety, it's probably not something I've used that many times in my career, but I'm sure you could use it and find out a little bit more about scarcity. Maybe there's only one chance to reduce this risk through the, installation of a machine, or there's someone who has the technical ability that's only available for X number of days, or you need to put an award in, and you've got scarce amounts of time to actually get this award ready, and you want support with that. It could be really anything you can think of that has scarcity in its nature, and it's generally about time or money. But again, you can think about it a bit more. So what's the second step to use these laws? I think the one I'm going to give you, which is the one I've used the most, is cups of teas and coffees. And it sounds super simple, but the small gift. So if you're going to see someone, like I would go and see the Chief Operating Officer, O2, I would ring up his PA and I would go, what does he like to drink? When does he like to drink it? Is he a tea man in the morning and a coffee man in the afternoon? Is he a croissant man? Or what does he like? Or does he like sweets? What type of sweets? I would find out anything I could. And then I would go in and I would say, and I would actually literally physically sit down in front of that person and go, here's your cup of tea. And their face lights up. Wow, thank you. And that's reciprocity. Now they're thinking, wow, I owe that person something. So you're now got them in a bit of a situation. Obviously, you're using reciprocity as part of the 6 laws. You found out what they like, so there's likability there. But generally speaking, just giving a gift to someone. I've also used presents at Christmas. Again, these are very, very small gifts. These aren't super expensive. The bigger the gift, you might actually put people off. So you want to be really, really clear. It might be a card with something handwritten inside. It might be a postcard. It might be anything to get that person to start to think, wow, that's really kind. And I'm going to be more attentive to what this person says because I want to give something back. I've also done it when directors are leaving or senior managers are leaving. I can remember building a little Lego figure. So I built a Lego figure that was like represented what this CEO had done for the business. And I also built something as well for the chief operating officer as well. It was just something because I'd been rolling out something called Lego training, and I wanted to share with them what people had received and why Lego was important. But really, deep down, having known the 6 laws, it was just an opportunity to give something, a toy, that I know that would have passed on to their sons, daughters, and that's what we're here for. It's just really to use our imagination about what these could be, these small gifts. But teas and coffees, really, really easy. Or taking out someone for lunch, which is even more powerful, but it has to be done in the right way again. So I want to now really charge the superpower levels up for influence now. I want you to use reciprocity. I want you to use commitment and consistency, and I want you to use authority. I believe these 3 for me have served me really well in my role as a head of safety. I use other parts of those powers, but internally within a business, I believe these 3 are the best. So again, reciprocity. Then as you've entered a room and you're having a one-to-one with someone that you want to influence, you want to get that person to look at you as you walk through and think, wow, I have that authority. So you're dressing and talking in the right way. You're mirroring what they say. The tone of voice is right as well. It's not too high, not too low. It's all about just thinking. You want to obviously be genuine. I think with these, because obviously we talked about good and bad and using these powers for evil. And I want to say, if you're faking it too much with these, it doesn't work. So when I'm talking about authorities, just be yourself, but just consider what you really come across as. What's your brand like? Get it right. And they always say, you only get one chance, but I think that people do give people second, third chances. So if you haven't got that sort of rapport with someone, you can get it back, but it just takes time, and you've just got to maybe use some of the other laws to do that. And maybe you need to kind of get advice from someone else if you're trying to influence that person and it hasn't gone well. Because, in safety, we're a lone wolf. We haven't got support. We don't have people all the time saying this is right and wrong. It's a lot of the time we're just on our own. And, when I've been making strategic decisions, I felt pretty isolated. So again, asking people, does what I say have that authority about it? Do I look like I've got authority? And I would ask, and I'll practice as well. And then the commitment thing. So once you've obviously handed them the cup of coffee and you've got the right tone of voice, or you've got, you're still being genuine, you want to try and get them to say out loud that they will commit to that. And I think it's all the time going in, particularly at a senior level, where you've got 3 options for someone. So, option 1 is generally do nothing. Option 2 is maybe more of an expensive solution where, they've got to put some money on the table and resolve that risk. And then the other one is probably, maybe something that, needs a lot of internal effort. It might take people out of their roles. Whereas the more expensive thing is more of an instant thing. So when something is more expensive, people want something that's resolved something quickly. When something is cheaper and you need more effort, it generally takes longer. And that's also to do with marketing. So generally expensive things, yeah. So you want to be saying, look, here's the 3 options, but what are we going to commit to? What would you commit to? How and just get that advice. But again, commitment, consistency, get them to say it out loud. So influencing health and safety used to be hard. I think really just from being on this webinar, it's not anymore, because you can start to build up that influencing muscle. I think the 3 secrets will certainly help you, finding out someone's interest, learn what excites that person, get that instant connection, give that frequent praise. Remember, I didn't feel I had that as I was growing up. And, I now make sure praise is part of how I do business, to be honest. I think it's super important in an honest way, and obviously rewarding effort rather than intelligence. You're really looking at someone and saying, the effort you've put into that and the processes you've used. I think that's really, really good. And, it's more about an honest level of feedback and just becoming a bit of a Jedi. And using those 6 universal principles, which you can find out a lot about on the internet, and we'll talk about them more on our mastermind groups as well. So overall, if I follow 3 secrets, then look, it's all about having that ability and control in your life. It's about having that financial stability in your life, which some of us haven't had, but we need. So it's, again, going back to the influencing standards that we've sort of said, the secrets, the opportunities, the 3 opportunities to make a difference is find out what makes someone tick, their interests, their passions, give praise right away if you can, and in the right way. Use the 6 Jedi principles, and I guarantee, even if it's a 10% change in your influencing skills, it will make a difference. It will, and combine that with a bit of coaching and feedback. If you can get that with, the feedback's important, because then you can refine your skills. Obviously, every day's a school day, and we're practicing all the time. You will change as an influencer. Now, this is the final bit. So Johnny, I'm sure, will collect up some of the questions for me if there are any. I'd just like to say thank you. If you want to join our mastermind group, Johnny will put a link in the chat as well. So he'll do that at some point, or we'll invite you. Got a limited amount of people in there at the moment, so we're not going to try and grow it too much. If you want to be part of it, obviously let us know. Why have I created a mastermind? Well, I just don't think there's any honest feedback out there around some of the skills that we really need as safety professionals. And there's probably commercial reasons why there's that. But also, I just want to create something that really does give you those secrets that we don't talk about from other sales, marketing, product development professionals that we can use. And what you're going to get, well, if you just send us a request and want to join, that'd be great. I think that's the end of the webinar. I don't think I've actually put an end slide on there. But Johnny, have we got any questions? No questions this time. No problem at all. Well, if you have got any questions, if you'd like to join the group, please send us a message on LinkedIn. You can send me a direct message. If there isn't any now, Johnny? No, that's great. Well, I hope you've enjoyed it. We're great on feedback, and we'll see you at the next one in probably 2 to 3 weeks. Thank you.